Welcome back. We are on page 8 of Snow in the City. So this is our last page. So I'm going to go over page 8 and then some of the inside front and back covers. So let me give you the measurements. We've got our 8 up here, so I'm going to set that aside. And we will also do our pullouts for these pocket pages. Okay, so page 8. The A flap is 7 7/8 by 6 1/2, so it's 2 lines before 8. B is 7 7/8 by 4. C, same thing. Wait, no, it's not the same thing. It's 8 7/8 by 4. And again, if one of your scrap pieces is 4 1/4, you don't have to trim off that little extra. A lot of them are a little over 4 if you're using leftover pieces. But the 8 7/8 is 2 lines before 9. So D is 8 5/8, which is 2 lines after or more than 8 1/2 by 4. And E is 7 1/2 by 4 1/2. Okay, so let's score these. If I can find my scorer, here it is. Okay. So A flap, we're going to have the 6 1/2 inch side facing the top. I'm scoring this on the flat side. I've got my 80-pound cardstock here. B is a left flap. I am going to score that with a 4-inch side facing the top. C is it's a pocket that goes on top of this flap, so I am going to start with the longest side facing the top. D is a pocket also, so I'm going to start with my open end, which is the longest side, facing the top. And E is going to be a pullout for that pocket flap, and so we don't score that. So we'll set that aside. Okay, so let's tape these. I hope you're not hearing that. My cat is just crying and crying and crying. My daughter has COVID and has to have her door closed, so the cat cries all the time. But she's got one more day in quarantine, and then everyone will be happy. She's doing much better, my daughter. Just got this headache that won't quit. So hope all of you out there are staying safe. And there we go. Let's see, so D here is a pocket. Okay. A flap. All right, so let's press this down. And let's cut our pocket corners. Okay. Right up to that intersection. And then we'll fold these over. Okay, so the C one is going to go on top of one of the flaps here, and the D is inside. So I will save D over here. Set that aside. Get these two folded. So here's my pocket page. I've got my 8, and just to make sure I'm facing the right direction. And let's put down A first. Okay, so this is on the right hand side. So let me just see, hold on. Okay. Turn that towards us. And I am going to round this just a little with my smaller edge. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking left and right. I've got it lined up. There's just a little bit of space. And let me put this down. I hope you're getting to be pros at this by now. Okay, now the B flap. Before I put it down, I think I'm going to put my pocket page on top. And I'm just gonna measure this first before I take off anything. So I'm gonna fold all this under, and I can see that it fits right on top of this flap. A little bit hangs over, which is, let me see, why is it doing that? A little bit is hanging over. So let me look. I might have used one of my scrap pieces and it was a little bigger. So what I might do, which is why I like to test this out first, I am going to make this B flap a little bit bigger. So hold on, hopefully that didn't happen to you. You know why? This is 4, and this other one must have been a little bit more than 4. So let me cut a piece real quick. Seven 7/8. I think I just used a scrap that was a little bigger. So I'm going to cut this 4 1/8. Actually, I have to make a fold. So 4 5/8. 2 lines more than 4 1/2. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let me score 1/2 inch. Sorry about this. I hope that didn't happen to you. But my pocket was a little big. So let me test it out again, which is why you want to test it out before you take off your tape. So I'm going to put this here and make a little pencil mark where I need to cut. And now I know I will be correct. Okay, so little diversion there. I will double check that so I make sure your cut list is correct. So just go by the cut list, because if I have to make a correction, I'll just go in and change the cut list. But I think I just cut this pocket too big, and that's all that happened. All right, so now I'm going to take off this bottom piece of score tape. And place this on top. Okay. And now we'll take off this. Actually, you know, I can take these off because it's not like I have to fit paper in here. This is a pocket flap. I'm going to put our cutout, you know, our pull-out piece, but there's no paper sticking out, so I don't need to leave that open for now. And I can take off this bottom piece. Okay. And put this down right here. So I'm lining it up left and right. Just bring it to the edge here. All right. Okay. So there we go. And the pocket is going to go right in here. Measure that real quick. Yep, that's correct. All right, so I'm looking left and right. I got just a little bit of space right before that crease, that fold line, and I'll just put this down here. And then this flips over there. This flips over here. And this E piece goes in here. And that fits. So that's going to go there. We'll have a little piece sticking out here. And that is it. So you can just decide if you want to corner around these, which I'm going to do. Bring out my garbage. I just like the way the pullouts look if they're a little rounded. Okay, and now it's magnet placement. So the first thing we're going to do is this flap right here, and I'm just going to check and see. Yes, what I have to do is I'm going to put 2 on this flap and 1 on this pullout, because I don't want this, since it's sideways pocket, I don't want this flying out. So I'm going to put 1 on the back here also that would land over here. So first, let's do right on the edges here, right on the corners, and then 1 on my pullout. And I'm going to make sure I've got this in here all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to put 1 right here. Okay, I just have to find my tape here. I'm going to tape this down. so let's take all 3 of these off, and then we fold this over. They will all land. I've got this measured, so I want to make sure it lands above the pocket. Let me just make double sure. Yeah, it does. Okay, yeah, you do not want this middle magnet here to land in between the pocket. So you may, not want to put it right in the center. Okay, so here we go. Press down. Okay, that's where everything landed, so let's tape that up. Okay, and the A flap is going to go over top, so I'm going to put 2 magnets right here. So probably between the page 7 and page 8, I used a whole pack of magnets, but that page 7 used a lot, which happens sometimes. So this one I'm going to have to face upside down. I have an odd number of, wait a minute. This one's gonna go like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to face this one upside down because I have 2 negatives. This tape is a little too close to the edge. I'm gonna cut a piece off. Okay. Now let's fold this over. And ta-da, we are done. Okay, so let me show you real quick how we decorated that, and I will give you the measurements for the pullouts and for these pockets. We're going to do our inside out backside covers. Okay, so page 8 has the park bench with the tree in the background. I just love that page. It's just pretty and relaxing looking. I probably won't put a picture, maybe a small one up here. Turn it over, and this is the same side as this paper. It's just this other side put under there. This is the rose paper. There was some scraps of that, so I put the roses on this edge. The pullout, I used all the roses, and then snow on the background, on the back side. So that fits in there. And this whole flap, I have the little bird tracks in the snow, doggy prints up here. This is the back side of one of the pages. It's like a brown with some snow. It was a scrap piece. For the pocket, I chose, there's that page of cutouts. So this is the telephone booth from that cutout page. And the bricks. I think that was from the back side of maybe the telephone booth. I can't remember. But scrap, so I just made a photo mat. It wasn't quite enough to make a book, but I made a little photo mat. And that is it. The pull-out, I used red, and here's the red solid. So let me show you the measurements for the pullouts and then for this pocket. I also make sure what I do on these inside covers, I put a magnet under here because these booklets, I just don't want them flying around. And then when before I put the back of the booklet, I push it here and make the magnet stick back there so that it will stay in here and won't go flopping around your book. So first let's do the pullouts and then we can make these pockets. So the pullouts, I used 100-pound cardstock. Let me grab a piece. I use 100-pound. I get it in these 8.5 by 11 packs. They come like, it's a big thick pack of them at Michael's. So I'm just using that because it's a little stiffer and it's easier to pull in and out of these pocket pages. So let's cut that. And we are going to make 4 of them. So I am going to use, so the insert is 7 5/8 by 7 1/2, and 7 5/8 is just 2 lines more than 7 1/2. So one side will just be a little bit longer than the other, just by 1/8 of an inch. So I go up to my 7 1/2, and I'm gonna go past it 2 lines. And then turn it and make this one 7 1/2. So you will have 4 of these. And let me see, I am going to corner round these. So I already cut my other 3. And I am going to corner round these with a nice, at least medium edge. Got my garbage again. You can make it a big edge if you have this 3 corner rounder with the 3 different sizes, whichever side you want, but I like the pullouts to have a little bit of an edge to them. Let me just make sure how I have this in the book. I believe the longer side goes vertically, but let me just double check that. Okay, so you have, whoops, I missed a corner here. Okay, so these pullouts, yeah, the 7 5/8 goes horizontally and 7 1/2 goes this way. So your 7 5/8 measurement, it just fits in, well, 7 1/2 fits in your pocket page right in here. And it's a little loose because I don't want you to have to struggle with it. So you've got a little bit of wiggle room. But basically that's how it goes. It goes with the 7 5/8 horizontal. And you can see what you have left for scraps. I have a lot of this red paper left, so I put that on the edges and then put my solid red crimson, that's American Crafts, over here, or you could cover the whole mat with this red. That's up to you. So that is it for those. and you decorate the front and back, and it just gives you extra places for pictures. And they're nice with having a little bit stick out of these pocket pages. You can turn them easier, I found. So we've got our 4 pocket pages, and now we're going to make the pockets for the inside covers. Actually, before you make the pockets, let's see, what you need to do, hold on one second. Not sure where my book went, but basically, let me grab a book. This is a different thing I'm working on. You want to cover this inside. So that piece is it's 8 by 7 3/4. So I'm just putting that down before I put the pocket. So cut 2 pieces that are 8 by 7 3/4, and you lay those down right under here. And then we will put our pocket on top of that. And the pockets are, let's see, what did I do? I think I did 5 inches. The pockets are, let me measure. I cut a piece 9 by 5 and just put it inside. So I knew I wanted a nice deep pocket here that comes up about halfway, maybe a little more. So that is 5 inches. You'll score it a 1/2 inch here, so it's 4.5 inches. And it covers that photo mat, that mat that we just placed down. And it goes on top. And then just don't forget to put your magnet underneath here. And I'll just show you real quick what I did for the decoration. Took one of the leftover squares. It has the telephone booth. This was a leftover piece of paper. So it's a 6 by 12. I cut that piece, and so 1 piece of paper. This was on the cutout sheet, and I just made it a little longer, and I put a space down here for journaling. And I think this is where I have my magnet. So that holds down, and these papers don't go flying around. On the other side, I have the little square of the book with the rose on it. Got my paw prints, and I made a booklet out of this telephone booth. And that was it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will quickly show you the front and back covers. The front cover was the paper with the telephone booth because I loved that. This was on the front cover with the squares. I just cut this out. I fussy cut that. This was a leftover piece with the girl ice skating, and I backed it on a piece of black with the snow coming down. The side was was from the same paper as the front cover here, and there was another little square with the city with the clock right there, and the back was the red, which I loved. So that is it. It's a Snow in the City book. It was a lot of fun. I hope you liked making it, and subscribe to my page, and I will be posting more books. Spread the word, the more the merrier. Thank you for watching.